This is Brian, and I support Fulham FC, and I just did a podcast with a Gooner and a Toffee who know fucking nothing about football. You have been listening to the DU Football Show.
Still very rude.
Yeah, not very Fulhamish of him, is it?
No, not at all.
You know, and the problem was he did it afterwards. So he said, you are right now
Currently,
getting ready to listen to the show.
Absolutely.
You know, but hey, they gave us a lot more than a charcuterie board. It was pretty great. Let's start the show. Little fans have another town. The fucking Gooner Prem. The Lord. The great and short. Sam Prem. Sam Prem. Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me is Mr. Samuel Graham, my co-host. How you doing, buddy?
Doing okay. How are you?
You're hang in there, buddy.
I'm trying. I'm trying desperately.
And on the ones and twos, maybe somebody with a little more pep in her step. Producer Mel, how you doing?
I am living my claret and blue bestness.
Well, you better be careful. We're going to be talking about another claret and blue today. So.
I think I'm aware of that.
I think, sorry, maybe pep in one step over there.
I'm sorry. OG claret and blue army over here, y'all.
Oh, one stepper.
Yeah,
Well, her foot's all banged up.
It was, it was a lot of day yesterday.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
I'll tell you, I'm still working on the ins and outs there because I forgot to also mention we are live every Monday as well and all that
It's
stuff.
preseason.
It's preseason. It's the preseason. We're still working our way through it. But you know what else you can do? You can Zoom your happy ass in.
Yes, you can.
Which is the case that we have today. We have our good buddy Brett with us. Brett, how have you been, man? Would be good if he had volume.
He got it.
I'm doing brilliant. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Why don't you tell everybody who you support?
The actual OG Claret and Blue, the Burnley, the Super Burnley.
Very good. Now, it was a great year for them. They win the championship. On the final day, they get to watch their arch nemesis, Blackburn, go out in glorious fashion. Still got one more Premier League title than them do, don't they? Sam and myself work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, what are we drinking today?
Water. Water. Now, God's water, actually. We have George Dickle, Tennessee whiskey bottle and bond. 100 proof, of course, because it's bottle and bond. I think this one is 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And this was number one
a couple of years ago.
The 2020 list of Whiskey Advocate.
Yeah, delicious. It's just solid bourbon. You just can't beat it, really. It's you know exactly what you're gonna get. It's just a good glass of whiskey.
Perfectly,
except it's Tennessee whiskey and not bourbon.
Perfectly executed bottle of whiskey right there. That's exactly what it is. In fact, going to the OG, I know everybody really loved the Jack 10 from 2 years ago. I really like the Jack 10 too. I think that this is
good.
Better.
Yeah, this is better than that, in my opinion.
Although I think it was number two. I think number two, Dewars 21 was better than this that year in 2020. But that's just an old personal opinion. Brett, you are also following suit as well and drinking too. So why don't you tell us about what you got today?
Yeah, I'm drinking Vikra Distillery's Boreal Spruce Gin. It's a little distillery right here in the Bay. Vikra means people of the Bay, and it's in Norwegian, and it's run by Norwegians that settled here in Duluth, Minnesota. It's wonderful. I'm drinking a lovely gin and tonic with some rhubarb and strawberries from the backyard that I created into a simple syrup. So
You
yeah,
are
it's
talking producer Mel's language.
Yes.
I mean, we're all G&T junkies, but that young lady over there really likes herself some rhubarb.
And can I just say, you know, you talk OG water of life and all that. Vikra puts out an amazing aquavit. If you've never had that, and that is it's literally otherworldly, and it'll knock you on your butt in a hot chocolate. It's great.
Yeah, you can't be a Scandinavian based company
and
right?
not have an
Heritage would
aquavit,
not have an aquavit. You know, that's when you were out in Iceland, tons of aquavit. Right?
Oh yeah, and I actually sell one, an aquavit. They do both a Danish style and a Swedish style.
Oh, fun, very cool.
It's called Svol.
Love it. All right, well then,
I think it's like the Scandi version of Prost.
Oh, by the way, Graham, what should everybody make sure they do?
Always remember to drink responsibly and find a discount code for Liquid IV somewhere.
Let's get into it, kids. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. I got to tell you, and the professional over here with Brett. Fucking professional, man. I love it. He's cheersing the camera and everything. Spot on. This is going to be a really, really fun club to talk about because you want to talk about a club that had an utter and complete change in every aspect of how they were. It was Burnley, right?
Yeah.
So before we get to it, we've had you on the show a bunch of times, but we never really had. It's always been the 20 for 20.
Because Burnley was always in the league.
Or when you got relegated. Yeah. We never did hey, this is Burnley, and just talk about you getting into Burnley. So right off the jump, go ahead and tell us your history with the club and what made you fall in love with Burnley.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very long and convoluted story that anyone who is drinking does not want to hear. So I'm going to sum it up. The long story has to do with a potential master's in Icelandic studies. The short story has to do with finding a team that really fit the ethos of what I believed good sport was, and that was culture eats strategy for breakfast kind of thing, right? If you have a team that'll play for each other, put sweat on the shirt, that will be the most intense strategy you could ever sum up, right? And I remember researching teams, and besides the Icelandic connection, it's from Johan Berg Gudmundsson, which is part of that initial draw as I found it. Really, it was a team with a net transfer spend of £1 million, beating teams like Manchester City and Chelsea and Manchester United, and, you know, as they say, shithousing 1-0 victories here and there, and just doing it and really throwing their body on the line. It wasn't pretty football, but it was tough football. And honestly, something about a mill town in Northwest England, not a lot of money, still owned by people in the town, really resonated with me and made me fall in love. So I drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak, on that, and been following them ever since.
Fantastic.
Always helps too, you know, for especially people from Wisconsin. It's quite cold. They have a long tradition of, you know, with the Packers and everything, of being outside with their shirts off. I thought that was pretty much what you were going to say, seeing Sean Dyche topless in the freezing cold, because he's the hardest motherfucker around.
That's true. That picture of him, or that gif of him smiling with the snow coming down before Tottenham, is beautiful.
He looked like he eat earthworm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so Burnley from 2009 to 2021 went from yo-yo club to comfortably safe to European competitors to relegation, mostly under the watch of the aforementioned Sean Dyche.
Yep.
What was the transition like for you as a supporter with the end of the Dyche era? Was it happy to get food back in the canteen instead of just worms? Was it, you know, clothes are no longer optional? That must have been nice as well.
You know, to be completely honest, I felt like I went through the stages of grief. You know, something that, you know, a manager that's been around for almost 10 years, it literally, the training ground, everything. It's kind of his idea, reinventing the signs on the walls, leg, hearts, mind. That's what Burnley Football Club is. Those are all Dyche things.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to both of us who had, the two longest running Premier League managers in the country for a while.
The People's Club, coined by David Moyes.
Yep.
Like, that's just, I get you.
So we
very
fully
much.
understand that. I mean, in our transition with, losing Arsene Wenger was, very hard. I felt the same exact way.
Yeah. No, it was, So first it was disbelief. And especially it was just like this little tweet. By the way, Sean Dyche has been relieved of his duties. So is the staff. Mike Jackson's going to take over. All right, who the hell is Mike Jackson? Figuring out he was like from the U21 setup, and I'm forgetting this now. I think he like managed Shrewsbury Town, or I've written it down somewhere. But so then I was worried. Then I went to At one point he managed Shrewsbury Town at some point, I think, or some lower league team.
That was a thriller of the last 5 games of the season.
No, it was, and I went to elation. Right, we beat Watford, and I couldn't believe what happened, and then just absolute utter. I felt like the world was over when we got relegated. Yeah.
I
got to subscribe to ESPN Plus now too. Damn it.
When you're talking about the different stages of grief, it's like you also got to be like angry. It's like, Sean, you were so fucking stubborn in your ways. Like, why couldn't you change just a little? Why couldn't you mix it up? Like, why are we here? We shouldn't be here.
Honestly, there was some of that, but I think anyone who was watching the football closely could see that they went from a rigid 4-4-2 to a high pressing team. And so you saw him change things. Every time we played Man City, he just literally threw Play-Doh at the wall and everything changed. But there was some serious frustration, but not just to Dyche. It was also to the former owners. It was too little too late. We literally had a transfer window before the takeover happened. That was Dale Stephens from Brighton and Will Norris from Wolves. Will Norris was like a League Two keeper, and Dale Stephens was like a 34-year-old way past it, right? And it's because they were padding the club's coffers to sell for a leverage takeover.
Right.
I mean, so I was frustrated more at that than necessarily Dyche, but also Dyche's stubborn dinosaur. So.
Well, we're going to go ahead and get to that about the ownership here in a second, but let's go ahead and talk about where just everything changed drastically. And it does go hand in hand with the ownership change as well. But with the appointment of former Manchester City captain Vincent Kompany, and just a change of philosophy, and like, how did this just change? It was like, okay, this is who we are as a club. No, we're now this, and just completely turned around and went a completely different direction.
Yeah. I know I probably keep saying similar things. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal to have fanfare around the club. That's not negative. It's not someone flying like the White Lives Matter banner over the, the Etihad or something like that. It's something that's actually catching headlines for a good reason. And it's kind of hard not to have a complete transformation of a club when 16 first team players essentially leave. We literally had less than a full 11 to put out when Kompany came in.
Ben Mee, Tarkovsky, Pope, McNeil,
Dwight,
Cornet, just everybody was gone. I mean,
every sellable asset was sold. Everyone who was surplus to requirements was out the door, and there wasn't even a conversation about it. That was kind of hard to see too, because long-serving folks just gone, absolutely gone. And it really, really turned into allowing Kompany to do what Kompany did at Anderlecht, which was bring in really, really talented youngsters and just let them go. Like, and Kompany is a Guardiola disciple, so it's totally pep ball. You got inverted wing backs, and that's the only, like, I hate to say it's the only way he knows how to play is kind of, I don't want to say new school, but it's completely different.
Football that is now the norm of play.
Let's say that it's a bit more advanced than Sean Dyche's tactics.
Yes, that it is.
Let's say it that way.
We can say that. We can say that. A little
You
bit.
know, it is a lot easier.
4-4-2.
Also, it's a lot easier to bring players in when the gravitational head of your gravitational pull of your forehead is that strong. It's very easy to get there.
It's huge. It's just pulling them in from everywhere.
That's right.
Hey. It's a forehead. It's no Julian Lescott, okay?
There was a rumor that they had to get bigger hats at the store for Kompany.
Not surprising.
No, not at all. So we've mentioned it a little bit already, but let's get into the new ownership group, an American company, ALK Capital. What changes have they brought to the club? What have they done besides finding someone in the complete opposite of Sean Dyche?
Complete modernization. We are playing 100% Moneyball. They brought in. They also
almost like the Brentford model in that way. Then
very much so. But this one's actually tied with Chelsea FC. So they purchased at the same time they purchased Burnley Football Club. They also purchased AI Scout and Player Lens. AI Scout is literally where you can go out in your backyard, your garden, anywhere in the world, and you can do drills and have your phone set up, and that camera will record and bring in stats and give in information, and will unlock trials for clubs in the Prem, in the Philippines, everywhere. And you can continue to do those trials. We actually have our first player from those trials, literally just came in. He's a youngster, and he played in the friendly, and he was good. And so there's that, and then Player Lens, which is axing agents out of it. It's allowing players to be their own agents in a sense, and getting rid of the middleman to like cut money out of it. Besides that, tons of new investment. You see JJ Watt, big boy JJ Watt is like a new face of it, of the club. And
I love that he just went pub crawl.
Went on a pub call. I also just like how he's denying that he was ever a Chelsea supporter when he was on EPL mornings for like 2 straight years, screaming about how much he loved Chelsea. Suddenly he's clear-eyed and blue.
Yeah, no, but there's a serious buzz around the club. They've even created like something to do with blockchain technology for ticketing. And I mean, when I say a complete modernization of the club, I mean from bottom to top. And our transfer videos have become amazing.
Awesome. Marketing teams getting it done as well. It's interesting because you think of it, it's like Burnley's one of the originals. Like they're one of the oldest clubs to play football. They're one of the first professional clubs, and they still looked like that when they went down. They still looked like that team where you're just like, well, they're probably going to go to the championship and hang out with Birmingham City and Blackburn and just kind of revel in mediocrity and
for a while, but they rebuilt so quickly.
And it's insane because let's go ahead and talk about it. We already said it last week on the Sheffield show. The fucking freight train that was Burnley, 101 points, dare I say Man City-esque, and a plus 52 goal differential. Which this is not your father's Burnley anymore.
What's important about the goal difference I want to mention before I let you answer is that is more goals than they scored under Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
And that's just in the goal differential.
You know, when we talk about all the new clubs and we want to kind of promote it all, like this is a really fucking fun one to talk about. Like this is what you hope new ownership, new stewards of the club do. And this is a perfect example of it. So please tell us all about the season, what it was like for you.
Yeah, I remember watching the first game against Huddersfield Town with like tons of nervousness. I watched some of the preseason matches and what I could get my hands on, but it's really hard for teams in the championship to watch them over here. And in that, you want to talk about more goals in a tenure. We had more passes. We completed more passes in the Huddersfield match than in any other match in Sean Dyche's 10-year tenure.
First match.
First match. Still a 1-0. And it's
Still 1-0. Like how they look on to the past.
Yeah. Well, no,
past
it's like we could have pumped them, I felt like, but it was a 1-0. Yeah, and from that moment, it started a little slow. There were a few draws, but I mean, honestly, we lost to Watford kind of in the beginning, and after that one loss, it was just, we went.
Clicked all of a sudden. Is that like maybe a little wake up call or something early on, and then
we marched the whole thing. We had a little blip, a 5-2 loss to Sheffield United, and then there at the end we lost to QPR. But I've never seen us dominate teams on the ball. And like I said, I almost had an aneurysm when I watched us. I couldn't believe that. Why is my left back in the opposing team's 18-yard box? Like, why? Like, what's going? And then that left back scored. Like, what is going on? It was
wrapped up the league with 7 weeks left or 6 weeks left.
Yeah, we wrapped it up in Middlesbrough.
Remember, in the championship, that's still 400 games left to play.
Exactly.
It was almost
that's ridiculously
like
that.
early. It was my first season ever watching us play the Bastard Rovers, Blackburn Rovers, and that was unreal. I have never been more nervous for a match in my entire life, and that it was just so interesting. The build up, people I was talking to were sick. They felt like they were going to throw up. There were helicopter police above. There were people being bussed in. It was a proper derby.
And you guys haven't played each other in forever, so the tension's going to be high. It's going to be a little feisty.
Yeah, and then 3-0, baby. Oh my gosh. I was watching Ashley Barnes just boss over Tom Kaminsky in goal after he scores, just throws him into the net, and then Tella making it 3-0 and then throwing up 3-0 right into the Blackburn defender's face. It's beautiful.
Brilliant.
I'm in comparison to watching them in the EPL, this was the most fun season I've ever watched.
And what was also fun, I think it was the QPR loss where they had already wrapped up the title and they're interviewing Kompany and they're like, "Are you dialing it in? Like, and he's like, because he had played a bunch of kids and he was like, "No, I want to see who's good enough to play in the Premier League next year." My players are playing for position right now. And it was like, oh, damn.
I think that's probably the biggest change just in general is somebody that has that experience that is still obviously hungry. I mean, a lot of times we've seen it with Lampard and Gerrard especially, but players that go almost immediately into management right after their career aren't really good yet. They don't have that maturity, but Vincent Kompany seems to have his feet firmly on the ground, has a great idea of what he wants to do. And it's really no, secret, that all of the, and even Arteta, these are all people that played or coached under Pep. And that's the key to it is, a few of Alex Ferguson's previous assistants went on to do things as well, but
same thing with
I haven't seen
Patrick Vieira was a Pep disciple as well, and I still claim I think he was unjustly let go from Palace.
That's true.
I think he should have kept his job. I think it was the schedule and not him. That was why Palace was sinking.
Right.
But you're right. Like you're looking at what's the common denominator of the young. It's Pep. It absolutely is Pep. It seems to be that if you would take an example from NFL, the Bill Walsh pipeline of coaches is what it seems almost like. And
well, can I tell you something that's really, really interesting? just this gave me so much insight into the difference between Dyche and Pep. I remember hearing an interview, a masterclass that Sean Dyche put out after being sacked and whatever. And he talks about that 3-0 or 3-1 or whatever win against Chelsea. And
it was 3-0 first game of the season.
Yeah. And he talks about going in to the locker room and talking to Ian Wone and going, I don't know what the hell to do. I wasn't expecting this. Like we don't know. We were not prepared for 3-0. And then I go to Vincent Kompany. I watched Scott Twine, who we picked up from MK Dons last season, a brilliant footballer, by the way. I watched him give a podcast episode for like Life of a Kitman or something. And he was talking about in the preparation that they did for a match. Kompany's there like 14 hours a day, right? Like each day getting ready for a match. And literally every single match has hours and hours of game film for them to watch and to notice. And he's instructing them, okay, when we go 1-0 up, this is what's going to happen. If we go 1-1, this is what's going to happen. You're going to move here. And everything is a tactical adjustment based on how the game is moving forward, how the match is moving forward. And I mean, he literally said, we literally won games before they started. He's like, we just literally walked and did what he said to do, and we won, which is unreal.
Well, that's like Jose used to have that. Jose Mourinho used to do that, where he would go, we're going to go 1-0 down somewhere around the 28th minute. And it'd be like 26 minutes in, they would score.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit. Like, how the fuck did he do that?
Man, it's a dangerous.
It's wild. Yeah. Of course, this was back genius Mourinho, not lunatic Mourinho that there is now. Yeah.
Lunatic Mourinho wins trophies that he doesn't care about until he wins them, and then they're stored.
And then they're the best trophy ever. Yeah, that time he included the Community Shield as part of a treble.
Yes,
and
that is how he rolls.
Absolutely weird. So we've already talked about them a little bit, but your biggest rival, I'm assuming, is Blackburn, which is why you took so much joy in demolishing them 3.
Yeah, we did the double.
Do you know what does that rivalry stem from? Is that just a proximity thing in this case, or have you been wronged in some way by Blackburn Rovers?
Well, I think the existence of Blackburn fans wrongs me, but besides that, well, it's proximity. It's proximity. These are two mill towns right down the M65 from one another, real close in proximity, 20, 30 minutes in between each other. Yeah, so it's always been a local Milltown derby. And Blackburn sprouted up around the time that Burnley did. Burnley was a founding member. Blackburn was not far behind them. Same thing with the Knobenders, Preston North End, all kind of, which is also another rival. But really, it's really dangerous. Like I said, they're like busing like. Not only busing the team, but busing fans in. They block off the streets, so only home fans are coming in one way, away fans are coming in the other. Beautiful thing happened this time. When we gave them full allotment when they came to us, they gave us a super reduced allotment, right? And this is the big match. It's the local derby. They didn't even fill 3/4 of their stadium. They're in a bad way right now. And we won the league at Blackburn. We won the championship title at Blackburn, and I love it. It's just sad that not more of the fans can be there, but it's a long rivalry. Yes, they have won a Premier League title. Yes, but we get wait. To be clear, we've won the first division several times. So it's there's a little back and forth there, and we are definitely on the up, and they don't have a pot to piss in right now. So
Brett, Everton has 2, but you and I collectively have 0 Premier League titles, so we shouldn't be too chest puffy about that one. I do have one question, and then there's going to be a little bit of a follow up as far as rivalries go. how much, after you have already wrapped up the league, right? How much did you enjoy watching the epic implosion of Blackburn on the final day? They're up 3-0. It's over. It's over. They're in the playoffs. Lose 4-3 in the second half. Like, just utter and complete implosion of that club.
I mean, you couldn't have sorry. 1 second.
That's keep.
Oh fuck!
That's
That's pretty good producing.
It is perfectly okay. We've got
pretty
a
good
big,
producing.
Bigby like
No, it's good.
in a ton too. It is actually brilliant producing from you, Melda. Go ahead and hit the "whoa the fuck" button right on time.
That was pretty good.
So good, so good. Okay, anyway, so the long story short, beautiful to watch. An implosion could not have happened to a better team. And you know what? That's just John Dale Thompson, man. That man. I don't know if you looked at the stats, and you may have seen it, but they only came every time they've gone down. They only came back to get like rescue points from a match one time, 2 times. But they also just couldn't hold on to games. Millwall is a good team, though. It was just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And by the way, shout out to Luton. Like, let's go. I'm right. I'm all here.
I can't wait. Yeah.
But just complete Murphy's Law. Got a fucking Luton fan in Maryland that now follows the show on Twitter. Of course, after we do the fucking Luton show, we got damn Luton person.
No.
You know what? You know what? Unsubscribe.
No, we want him in there.
That one guy, no, because you
You
fucked it.
still need them for the 20 for 20.
Right, because there was another guy that didn't answer my emails. This guy found us. So yes, welcome in, embrace. We like this. So now that you're back up in the Premier League, with proximity, who's going to basically be your rival up here? What would, I mean, it's obviously not a derby, but what's going to give you that derby atmosphere in the Prem?
Well, I would have said Leeds United, but they're down. That's a proximity thing.
They got relegated a second time. Did you see that from the summer tour? They get relegated twice in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, that was so beautiful. That was so
idiots.
beautiful. Oh, yeah. I'd probably have to say what's going to feel like a derby in a weird way is Everton. To be completely honest,
100%.
If Dyche is still in management at that point, Everton are a little trigger happy.
Yeah.
But I think really my favorite match to watch is always Manchester United. It's very close in proximity, and there's actually per capita more Burnley fans in Manchester than Manchester United fans. So they did like it's actually pretty freaking wonky. So yeah. Anyway, I love it. So Man U, I would say, and yeah, Man U.
Before we get off the rivalries real quick, I do want to hone in on one particular thing, because it's happened to us twice. Winning that title at your rival stadium is the fucking sweetest thing.
Oh my God,
yeah.
It is the sweetest thing ever.
Celebrate in front of their fans.
We've won the Premier League twice at Spurs. It's fucking brilliant.
The biggest gut stab ever for the other team. They're just like, I hate you. And fuck you for winning the title. And here, fuck you. The first time we did it, the second time we did it, they had planned on like, just get the fuck off the field. We're not, entertaining this. We're not doing anything. And then I can't remember what happened. Something happened that was like Henry and Vieira felt that it was untoward, what was going on. So they're like, fuck that. We're celebrating. Yeah. Great. We're going to fuck off in the middle of the field.
100%. Yeah, it was awesome. And it's just such a good feeling, and it's such a special thing. It's such a rare thing to happen, but that's such a special thing, and you can't beat it.
I was literally riding a high for a week, and not only that, but I remember when the celebrations were going on. Josh Brownhill, who's maestro in the midfield for us, he took one of the blow up trophies because they didn't have, we didn't have the trophy. He took one of those blow up trophies and just went over to the Blackburn side and just started lifting it into the cheers. And people started throwing bottles and money and all this, and he just kept going. And Kompany had to no, like don't smacked him upside the head. Stop it, stop.
Is well documented. We live for shithousery on that. Even when it happens against us, we live for shithousery.
100%. Is Blackburn still, just as a side note, is Blackburn still owned by that Indian chicken family?
They are the Vankies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vankies. And it's big discussion right now is that this Indian chicken company is pulling their money. They have to cut outside expenditures, and Blackburn's investment is some of that. So
damn,
and they went hard the last 2-3 seasons. They have gone very, very hard. They've had a very decent sellable asset. Diaz, it's a hyphenated name. Their striker.
Yeah, Brereton Diaz. Yeah, he just went on a free. And that was a big mistake on their part.
Who did he end up going to? I didn't see.
It's a team in La Liga, because he's Chilean, don't you know? Yeah, right.
From Blackburn to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think anyway. Yeah.
But with that, you think of it that was a very sellable asset that I know my club was in for him and was offering 25 million, and being shot down because Blackburn was dead set on getting there. They were gonna get back to the Premier League. And sometimes when you try that hard, you spend that much expenditure, the next thing you know, you drop like a stone. You see that happen a lot.
Big time.
Championship teams that end up in League One or League Two, it happens a lot more than you think, because in the championship, you only got so much budget. You don't have $100 million coming to you from TV money. You just don't.
No,
it's
you absolutely don't.
It's tough.
And speaking of that, the other well-trodden path that nobody knows about that I love is the Portsmouth Real Madrid connection. They've done 7 or 8 pieces of business between the two clubs. It's such a weird thing.
That is the weirdest thing.
Strange.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have to ask a question. This is obviously the most important question of the entire episode.
That's what I'm here for.
So the EPL mornings when they were in LA, and it was 3:00 in the morning when they were recording live, there was a group of about just 8 stone cold hotties that just all donned the claret and blue, and they were on the TV everywhere. It was look at the hot chicks, they dig Burnley, and all of us are worried. Why? Because this is the Hard and Dyche era. It's those looking like supporters that shouldn't be supporters. Are those ladies still supporters of Burnley, and are they excited about the promotion back to the Premier League?
You know what? They are so excited. Oh God! It's so funny. There's not a ton of us North American Clarets. There's not a ton of American Clarets, although there's several in the same town as me and across the bridge. But I do have to tell you, sad to know, they definitely gave away free gear. It's here. I suspect. Now I don't know this for sure. I suspect they may have been recipients of free.
Look, I know I watched Snoop take all of his jerseys and do a blind pull, and he ended up on Burnley. That's his club, right? And I know for certain Snoop is still all in on Burnley. I'm sure that's the case.
Snoop loves Burnley. It's true. I share that picture all the time. It's good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Healthy ground usually has earthworms in it, right? So he knows that that's the best place to grow weed in England. Is essentially what it is.
That's what it is.
It's got healthy soil,
good fertile, healthy soil. Yeah,
that's absolutely.
And do you remember the Seinfeld episode where George had the African nurse for the guy that he was being a little brother to or whatever, spending time with the old people?
Right.
And she doesn't speak a lick of English, and he just went up to her and said, I want you to rub oil all over my bald head and rub it against your body or something like that. And that's all I imagine is that these 6 hot girls from LA is I just want to rub oil all over Sean Dyche's head. and rub it on my body.
I also just assume that immediately, like every single problematic Burnley person kind of talked about it before. They're an old mill town. Let's just kind of call it. It's a flyover state in England. Right?
Yeah.
What it is. Right?
That's the old hashtag Brexit's quite strong in that area.
Ben Mee had to get on national television to apologize for somebody being racist. Okay, like, those things.
And
happen.
you know the other thing is why Ben Mee? He's the most Aryan looking one of everybody. Why are we putting him on?
So
I also thought that. I was like, why? But it's because he's club captain. I put two and two together. But I was also like, why not have anyway. Anyway. Like you could have Aaron Lennon, who's like a Tottenham legend and so well spoken, like gone on TV many times. No, you got Ben Mee.
I guarantee you, all those creepy Burnley supporters went, let me go ahead and jump into those DMs, see what's up.
Wait, can I tell you though? Can I tell you? I have actually learned about Burnley politics, and it is strikingly odd how progressive that town is. It doesn't. There's a few. I've actually interacted with that guy on Twitter, and the guy that purchased that and absolute ding dong. Of
course.
I mean, absolute ding dong. Not
Anyway. But what is? It's a D-back. It's definitely a D-back. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it's just that area, just where it's situated in England. Yeah. The fact that it is a mill town, a very working class town, and all that kind of stuff. It just lends itself to the jokes, obviously.
No, it does. But okay. Total aside. One of the reasons Kompany decided to come was because of the politics of Burnley. Burnley's super, but pretty socialist. On his, he has this
Mm-hmm.
conversation with Gary Lineker, and he goes into how his mom raised him, and turned him into this radical political thinker. It's freaking wild.
Cool.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
He's got a large enough brain to handle both politics and football.
A lot of forehead.
So much forehead.
Rivaling Sadio Mane forehead. Again, still no Lescott. Still Lescott forehead reminds me of
if you ordered Vincent Kompany on wish.com.
No. Remember the Simpsons baseball episode where Ken Griffey Jr. was drinking all the time?
Yeah.
That is Julian Lescott's dome.
That's really funny.
Alrighty, Mr. Graham, final question of the segment.
Yes. It's the big one, of course, the actual big one. What are the expectations for the season, and where do you think you're going to finish? What is Burnley and specifically Vincent Kompany doing that's giving you full of confidence that you'll probably finish in, 8th or 9th?
Yeah. You meant 7th, and you meant that we're going to be in the Conference League, but that's besides the point. Here's what I think. I think Kompany has a pretty revolutionary way of preparing players. As you know, we were back in preseason before any other team was back in preseason. So we had 4 weeks off. We had a month off, came back for 2 weeks, then had a couple weeks off, came back for another 2 weeks. They have a couple days off, and then this week they go again. Just an incredible preseason tour. We played Genk over in Belgium. Then we played Benfica, beat Benfica, lost 0-2 to Genk, beat Benfica 2-0, and then drew with Real Betis.
Specialist. Yeah.
Pellegrini.
Hangover specialist.
That's it.
Half the team was hungover that day.
Had to be.
Yeah.
100%.
No, but it's been really encouraging. We've been super active in the transfer market. My expectation, I really don't think we're going to get relegated, but I don't think we're going to do Leeds United, Sheffield United, first season back. I don't think we're going to super skyrocket.
Hell, Fulham.
I think we're
that season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Last season, absolutely. but I definitely don't think we're going to be in and amongst the bottom. I just think there are too many poor teams. And, last season we beat the bricks off Bournemouth 4-2. And that gave me all I needed to see because we played their first team and we just took them to task. It was great.
Yeah, agreed. It's the team is young, and I think there's going to be games where Kompany's going to want to play his style, and there will be clubs that will absolutely kick the shit out of you because of it.
Man City.
But yeah, I mean, or a team that loves to counter, look at like a team like Tottenham. That'll be one of those games where you'll be like, we had the ball in their end the entire time, and we somehow lost 4-0 on 5 shots.
Well, it depends if Bayern finishes the job in trying to get Harry Kane. I think Burnley might put Tottenham to the sword.
Very
to be honest with you.
So I think will be some.
Wait, I have nightmares of Heung-min Son. I have nightmares of that amazing solo goal. He just he walked through us. So Tottenham's never a fun memory for me. So
and you got to be careful with Liverpool too. The new chat is PSG need to offload him. Mbappe won't even speak to Al Hilal at all. Won't even entertain it. So there's talk about a potential loan move for a year somewhere, and Liverpool have thrown their name in the hat to try to get him for one season. They know he's going to Madrid for free next summer, but so I'd be fucking careful about that too.
Mbappe under Klopp. Yeah, no one is ready for that, especially not our freaking 18-year-old defenders.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think there's gonna be that kind of heartache, but ultimately, what happens if a good team plays under a good system and is being coached well, they're gonna find a way to get the points that they need at the end of it all.
Yeah, I think honestly, like my optimism says like a 13th to a 10th or something like that. I think we could easily eke something like that. My dream and my hope that I know will never be achieved is Europe first season, baby. Let's go. I want to go straight to the moon. Dogecoin. Boom.
Put that one on me because I didn't tell him when I do this, it means we're stopping. And I'm not going to stop when the kid's on a roll. You got to let him do what he does.
We can't let that slide. Yeah. Dogecoin, boom. That's what.
Yeah. I want us to hit Europe. Like Dogecoin to the moon. Let's go. That's what I want. That's my hope. It's not going to be realized, but that's my hope.
Hey, Sam, crypto's a really solid investment. We are in the middle of right now, which is essentially like crypto. And we want to take time to really kind of discuss what Burnley very specifically is doing. But if we're going to talk about it, you have to look back at, we kind of said it very briefly, but you bought 16 fucking players last year. So it's like, how much work really needs to be done when you essentially bought a whole new organization already?
Yeah. In terms of transfers, we are really, really in the middle of it. We brought Jordan Bayer, made his loan permanent from Borussia Mönchengladbach. We got Dara O'Shea from West Brom. We made Michael Obafemi permanent from Swans. Oh gosh, so many. We just signed Jacob Brun-Larsen from Hoffenheim. Got Nathan Redmond from Besiktas. Luka Koleosho from what's that? What was that team? Give me 1 second. I can tell you. Espanyol.
You're already doing better than Nick. You're fine.
Yes. From Espanyol. Big signing. Ziki Amdouni from Basel. We dropped club record fee on him, 18 million. Also James Trafford from Man City. I have no idea why we paid the fee we did for him. I mean, brilliant in the U21 Euros. Kept clean sheets every match.
Young Trafford.
Young Trafford.
Scores at Old Trafford.
Yeah, young Trafford goes to Old Trafford and gets absolutely obliterated. I feel so bad for the kid too. I feel so bad. Every preseason match, he's had like the worst gaffes. And he's been given, like, he is the club's record signing, him and Mdouni. And so of course he's probably going to play, but the one match our keeper Muric from last season played in, he played out of his skin, amazing. And there's no doubt in my mind that he should be starting next season. Yeah, we got some incredible players last season. Manuel Benson just scores for fun on the right side. Anas Arori, Moroccan international. We absolutely pillaged Belgium. Josh Cullen, former West Ham player, we got last season as well. Yeah, I mean, we've been going on and on and on. I could keep going. Wow, Foster. Yeah, I mean, from Westerlo, Enoch Ajayi, just
there's a lot of names in there as well.
Was there any? Well, I mean, when it's my turn to do the drunken transfer window, I'm going to have fun with that this year.
Can't say normal name.
Yeah, I know. John Smithy. That gives you a hard.
Yeah, well, that was Burnley though, right? Like it was all there. Then me. You know, like one syllable names, right? Like then me. All right, we got this.
And English as fuck back in the day. Like, does he look? Is he tall? Is he pasty? Does he have bad? Yep, he's English. We saw. That's who we're gonna have. Now, how many? Like, now you talked about the couple of loanees that you ended up making permanent. Were there any loanees you had to return that were really kind of key players? Because that happens a lot in the championship.
Absolutely. And there was big news today about one of them, but two specifically, Ian Maatsen, who tore up the Premier League summer series for Chelsea. He played out of his skin, and now Pochettino is like, oh yeah, maybe he is in our plans. We're bidding for him and stuff. So that was real sad. He played left back for us. Absolutely brilliant player. Netherlands Youth International. And then Nathan Tella, baby. Absolutely useless at Southampton. And when I say absolutely useless, he comes in
absolutely useless.
Yeah, they kind of
also Southampton. That's kind of useless.
The club.
Yeah.
The most famous ever players of flat earthers. All you need to know about Southampton Football Club. Fucking weird.
I didn't know that.
That was brilliant.
Matt Letizia is a fucking weirdo.
Who was it?
It's Matt Letizia.
Oh yeah.
He's a flat earther. He's a fun follow on Twitter because he comes out with some fucking weird stuff.
Yeah, I just started following.
Like he was a weird dude, man.
I just started following Joey Barton, who used to play for Burnley, and that's a wild follow on Twitter too. By the way, Nathan Tella
go at people too.
Yeah, he does.
Or scrap with them.
Yeah, but he's also like all those conspiracy theories. It's like he's like super into Tucker Carlson. Like, well, I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, besides the point. Nathan Tella, 22 goal contributions. The most I think he had in the Premier League was like 3, I think, for Southampton. And the chairman's daughter, Ashlyn Pace, Burnley chairman's daughter, reached out to a bunch of Burnley media, like social media groups, and said, today at 12 British time, we're going to make Tella trend. Free Nathan Tella. Just all over the Twitter sphere. And every journal, like every person is like, no, there's no bid. I don't know why this is happening. And then Alan Pace, our chairman, like retweeted it. It when I talk about silly season, like I have no earthly idea, but you'd think like, oh yeah, well, they must have done it. Every single person says, we would know if this happened. This has not happened. What is going on? And if I was Southampton, I'd say there is no way I'm doing business with a club that's like going to make this campaign, free Nathan Tella, put him behind bars and stuff. It was not a good look.
Southampton's probably also looking at it going, we're going to lose Ward Prowse. We're going to need somebody to contribute. Like he just did it in the championship. Let's have him do it in the championship again.
22 goal contributions is nothing to scoff at.
No, absolutely. You just hope for him, even if he does end up coming, you just hope that it's not because he was so poor before. You just hope that it's not like that David Nugent kind of realm where good, but not good enough for the Premier League. Like just can't do it in the Prem, but lights up the championship like it's going out of style.
Right.
Yeah,
Everything
that's
we were
a
worried
word.
about Mitrovic.
Yeah.
Of course. And then when he, did what he did for the single season record and everything else, and this year scored 17 goals for Fulham, that was huge. It was like, now, okay, you finally fucking arrived.
Right. Precisely.
And he's going to take the money, I think,
So
and end up in Saudi. But
Oh yeah, he's
question.
definitely gonna do it.
One final question for you, Brett, on this. It would be what pieces do you really feel like you still need? I mean, it sounds like Tella is definitely a piece you want for sure.
Yeah, I
You
don't think we need Nathan Tella. We have brought in more wingers. We are like winger FC. I think like if I'm counting right, we've brought in 6 wingers, and today or yesterday we agreed a fee for another winger. So so I don't know why we need Nathan Tella. We're set pretty much in striker with Amdouni. I think Wout Weghorst, hopefully we can offload him. I didn't really want to talk about him, but he's I really don't like that player. Anyway, besides the point.
He's not what your team is now. He was perfect for
not what
Manchester
United need.
No, but he was a really good clubhouse presence. Sam, come on,
he's not what anyone needs, really.
Did you?
Oh no, I can tell you what I can tell you what somebody
Dutch
needed.
Andy Carroll.
He was what the Dutch needed to get the game.
Well, can I tell you something? This man never heads a ball, never heads a goal, ever. He can't jump to save his life. He was. When he was at Wolfsburg, he was a fox in the box, amazing. Scored only second to Lewandowski. Right, comes to Burnley. Dyche thinks, big 6'4" striker. Yeah, kick him the ball. Man, that kid can't use his head for whatever. Anyway, point is, we also need a left back. I'm really upset about Wout Weghorst. Connor Roberts, also probably the shortest team member at Burnley, got into a little spat with him, anyway, it was beautiful. Back Connor, whatever. Little Burnley drama there for you both. Hope you love that.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny. We think there's going to be a fist fight any day, and I think Connor Roberts, the Welsh cat food, would just knock his socks off. But
because that's how tall he is. That's the only place he can reach.
Actually, true, Graham.
But he may be 5. He's 100% fucking mean. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Welsh. You know what definitely you call a Welshman? Sir. That's what you call him.
And especially Weghorst won't use his head. What you could do is go, hey, I'll show you how to use your head, and then just headbutt him right in the cock.
Yeah, that's right.
In the sack.
Right. We need a left back. I don't understand why we are getting all of these wingers. I know he wants to play pet ball. It also seems that Kompany is in love with center backs, of course. So we keep getting rumors for center backs and wingers.
He might be thinking to change their position.
No, it is, and he is. He absolutely
might see something in somebody Arsenal just bought Kai Havertz, played up front for Chelsea. We imagine him as a number 8.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's going to work. Henry, our greatest ever goal scorer, was a winger. Only had 3 goals for Juventus.
Yeah,
Arsene Wenger took a chance on him and put him up front, running through the channels, and was fucking amazing. Yeah. Obviously.
No, you're absolutely right.
3 center backs, and all these wingers are going to play wing back.
I think so.
Player manager.
We
I want to see Vincent Kompany in the fucking game again.
he played for Anderlecht. It was unreal.
Dope.
But
I don't know what you're doing. I'll just sign myself.
We did switch one of our center backs, Amin Al-Dakil. He was a dual Iranian Belgian player. He now plays for the Belgian national team. He was a youth. Now he plays for the national team.
Bit of sex tourism.
Yeah, it is.
Half Iranian, half Belgian. Jesus.
Yeah, well, it happens. I'm sure it's great.
That reminds me that you remember the comedian Russell Peters, and he did that at let's start mixing people that wouldn't normally mix. You remember that bit?
Yes.
He said a woman from Iceland, a guy from Cuba, and they'd have little ice cubes, and that kind of shit.
I'm dying right now. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It's on
Um,
YouTube. Find it. It's Russell Peters. The bit's called "Mixing People that don't normally mix." I think it's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, like you.
I got it.
Cuban.
Yeah, we're playing three at the back now. It's like we weren't in the champ, but now we are, and he's using center backs as wing backs and center midfielders and God knows what. Oh, hey, by the way, just came out of left field, but we signed Andros Townsend. Wow, look at that, beautiful.
He'll spend
weird,
the entire season hurt for you like he did for us for 2 seasons.
That's great.
So that is going to wrap it up, boys and girls. But Brett, what I want to do also, by the way, fantastic job. Thank you so much for helping out. The floor is yours. I want you to promote anything and everything that is Burnley in the States. Where you can find supporters clubs, American podcasts that talk specifically about your team, watch parties, charities that you guys do. Just, it is all Burnley, all you. Promote the shit out of it.
Okay, so here's what I'd say. There are not any American Burnley only podcasts. We could change that. That could be a beautiful thing, but there aren't.
That.
Not yet. But Turf Morehouse is a great podcast. So is Turfcast. They're both Burnley done, and they're excellent podcasts. I would say the best way to get in contact with any Burnley supporters in America is North American Clarets. You can find them on Facebook, find them on Twitter, or it's now known as X. I think you can find us now on Threads, and you can find us on Instagram. So just Nor-Am Clarets on most things, or North American Clarets is a great way. As far as charities go, really into that. BFC in the Community is an excellent charity that's doing a lot of good work in Burnley, in the area. It is a depressed part of England, and I've actually,
it makes sense that it's depressed part of sure.
It is an old mill town, and so I've been in contact with the club and with the charity arm BFC in the Community, as well as several pastors that do social ministry in Burnley, and we're trying to raise funds because 1 out of every 3 kids in Burnley is living in poverty, and that's a real shame.
That's a bad stat.
That's not what you want.
No, it's real sad, and so we're trying to mobilize some things stateside to make it better. So be on the lookout for that. You can find me on socials at Fade to Foot, and we are planning a North American Clarets gathering in Burnley, in England. Last game of the season against Nottingham Forest. I will be there. Several other Wisconsin Clarets will be there, and we're hoping to get a big crew there. Hoping JJ Watt will be there too. We're trying to work with the club to make it happen. We've got some flags made, and I'm looking forward to my first game at the Turf, and it's gonna be freaking wild. Can't wait. I'll either be
on next year to talk about it as well.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah, would love that. I'm either gonna be really depressed or really excited, but I think either way it'll be a fantastic time.
I said it at the start of the show, say it again. I mean, you want to talk about a team that has made a complete change in culture and ownership and style of play and coaching and personnel. Like, this team completely changed everything, and it worked. Normally you do that and it fails miserably. Or it's a long time to get that culture established.
What's good is the owners have stayed out of Kompany's way.
Yeah.
When you need to revamp an entire organization like that, you have to have an old school manager. They do fucking everything. And it seems like Kompany has dove all in and relished that opportunity, and he's turned it into a fantastic place to play football.
Yep. Now, Mr. Graham, that's kind of parting words, but you have any other parting words for us as well?
No, not really today, I don't think. Everybody was pretty sound, so there wasn't anybody to call out. Really.
Everybody was very well behaved at our tailgate, which we're going to talk about next. So that was pretty cool too.
What I would say before we leave, after you just mentioned all the charity work and everything that you're trying to do with the club and stuff, is over the last 6-7 years that Burnley has been in our ethos and in our kind of minds in general, is when I see that town, when I see that that stadium when Sean Dyche was up there with the earthworm guts around his lips and everything else, the first thing I thought was they need Jesus. So well done. You're doing the Lord's work, my friends.
Let's go. Yeah, name of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I'm here. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. No, it's
And our moral parameter is now more secured. Us heathens here have gotten a little bit of Jesus in our life today. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Excellent.
I can assure you of that.
Again,
Yeah, there you go.
That's going to do it, everybody. Be sure to next week, we're going to be doing our 20 for 20 show where we're going to be having 20 supporters. Brett's going to be back with it as well, doing 20 supporters and 20 clubs and talking about the entire league as a preview, which is typically an incomplete shit show because your boy Mark does not understand what a mute button is. And
Our boy Mark.
And even though Mel, no, he's your boy when he doesn't know how to use a mute button. And even Mel mutes him, and then he somehow circumvents the mute button inadvertently. It's crazy.
On the flip side,
Yeah.
I got to give Brett huge props. Professional. He mutes himself when he's not talking. I see you.
Yeah, keeping
I
an eye
see
on
you,
it.
Brett.
Keeping an eye.
No,
I love it.
I try.
Game sees game there.
I love it.
I mean, he had to when the dog started fucking in the background. It was kind of weird.
And there we are, damned again. Be sure to check out our link tree with everything that is pinned for Drunken United Football Show. And finally, if you want to support the show, check out our Patreon. Mr. Graham, how does one find our Patreon?
It's patreon.com/DU Football Show. You got one $5 tier where you get all the extra content. So make sure you check that out. As well as follow us on all the social medias, the YouTubes, the everything. So just make sure you're doing all that stuff and help support the show.
Excellent. Till next week, everybody.
Good night.
Phenomenal job, Brett.
Perfect, bro.
Knew you'd be
Well
fine.
done.
Knew you'd be fine. Knew you'd be way better